What's up, you guys? We got another props and parlay episode coming your way. UFC Des Moines edition. All right. And let me just clarify, I'm messing with you guys there before one of you out there has a heart attack. I do understand it's pronounced Des Moines. All right. I see you guys in the comment section. Some of you guys are just nuts with getting on me about my pronunciation. So if you guys thought it was, if you guys thought that I actually thought it was Des Moines, I really do think that some of you guys may lose it. And I don't want to contribute to pushing you off the edge there. So I understand it's Des Moines, and I know it's David Onama. Okay, I like to call him Onama, but you're gonna have to get over it, man. There's some fighters that I like to just kind of say their name the way that I like to say it. It flows better. All right, so you know who you are out there. I asked you guys in my full prediction video what you guys thought of this card, and I actually saw quite a few of you not that high on it. I think that it really boils down to what your thoughts are of the main event, of course, which I like the fight. Cory Sandhagen is a huge favorite, but you still kind of like the mystique and a lot of the accolades that Figueiredo brings into that fight. He is 3-1 since coming up in weight. I mean, I do think Sandhagen takes the fight, but it's still an exciting fight. It also boils down to how you feel about Bo Nickel and RDR, right? If you're not really too excited about those fighters, I love both those fighters. I love the work that they've been doing, and I'm very excited for the future of Bo Nickel. But I'm also very excited with what we've seen from RDR since coming over from ONE FC. But I see the hatred for these guys all the time. I would say both of those fighters, for whatever reason, get above average hate coming their way, especially Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel's up in the 90th percentile. I mean, there's no question about that. And then also, for you newer fans that are not as familiar with the fighter like Jeremy Stephens, you guys probably don't really care about him making his return, while maybe, you know, some of more of us old school fans are pumped to see his return, especially after the success he just had over the BKFC world. And you could also mention Miesha Tate being on the card, but that kind of circles us back to maybe the newer fans just really don't care about an old Miesha Tate fighting on a fight card. So, I mean, I think that's what it boils down to, but you guys made it clear you're not crazy about this card. I like it. Okay, I know what we're here for today, though. Let me not go on too much about the card. Let's dive into some props and parlays. If you're new to the channel here, please subscribe to the channel. If you guys can all smash that like button, we're going to dive into at least 3 prop bets that I like. And then at the end of the video, we're going to put together a long shot parlay that will be up in the plus 1000s. And we'll try to cash out there. Go catch me on all my social media platforms. They're below. If you guys can, please do that. And don't forget, if you guys want to work with me for my official plays, the actual plays that I am targeting big for this card, reach out to me. I got my email and Instagram scrolling below. Shoot me a message there. And as always, I have that special offer. If you sign up through my referral link to Bovada, I will give you my entire slate for this card for free. All right, guys, we hit up the intro. Let's go talk some props and parlays.
The teller.
Look what we got here. Who would have knew? We're talking once again about Juliana Miller and Ivana Petrovic. But I think we got a solid target here, okay, that I'm going to talk about. So I just couldn't gloss over this fight. And you know what? It's not like it's horrible to be talking Petrovic and taking a look at her. She is actually quite a fight finisher when you take a look at the work that she's done. She's only gone to a decision once, right? One time out of her 7 victories. She pulls off, half of her finishes are by KO, half of them are by sub. But since fighting under the UFC banner, or if you look at her more recent fights, right, they're coming by way of submission most likely, right? Her big championship fight over in Aries, her last fight over there was a 4th round submission. Her lone victory in the UFC was a 3rd round submission over Na Liang. She caught her with an arm triangle choke. Now, here's the thing, though. In both of those fights, it did take her a while to find that sub. I'm just kind of highlighting that she's not really a fighter that goes out there with quick urgency and has success finishing fights early. You could find a couple very, very early on in her career against low-level fighters. But really, the bigger thing that I'm talking about here, if we're getting down to it, is Juliana Miller has BJJ skills. Okay, she's a sloppy fighter, but she has a skill set as far as her jiu-jitsu goes. And if you take a look at her losses, she's never been subbed. All right. So I think that Juliana Miller is going to be able to make it to the final bell. But if you guys caught my full prediction video, I do believe that Petrovic will be a step ahead. Over the past week, we've seen Petrovic's line coming back down as she went from a minus 270 all the way back to a minus 225. Okay. That line is actually becoming somewhat reachable. All right, as far as I'm concerned, especially if you can catch that around like a minus 200. Okay, but what we're here to talk about, because you guys know it has to be a prop type of play. I want you to take a look at Petrovic to win this fight via decision. Okay, which you can catch right around even odds, minus 120, minus 125. I think it's worth taking her to win the fight decision because I just don't see her finding that finish. Okay, her striking is, you could say it's somewhat technical, but she's very slow, lethargic there. I don't think that she finds the finish on Miller. In that sense, Miller's tough. I think that Petrovic is a step ahead, and she wins this fight via decision. And then we're talking more WMMA. All right, guys, I'm going to torture you for those of you guys that don't like the women's fights as much, but it's just the way it's working out here. I like this fight. We're talking ranked action. Jillian Robertson's taking on Marina Rodriguez. We know this is a stylistic clash here, the grappler versus the striker. What makes this fight interesting is that Marina Rodriguez has never been submitted, even though she struggled so much with her takedown defense and her overall grappling. Okay, we know that she's very low level down there, but for whatever reason, she does avoid being subbed. I mean, she's even avoided being submitted by the very high caliber Verna Jandiroba and a recent loss that she's taken. As far as her being finished, the only finish that's happened to her was the Amanda Lemos knockout loss that she took, where she got clubbed up in the third round there. So yes, this is all true, but Jillian Robertson is a high-level grappler. I feel very confident that Robertson's going to have success in this fight as far as getting it down to the mat and being in dominant positions. Now, the question is can she find a finish? Jillian Robertson is definitely a fight finisher. If you take a look at her, I mean, some of you guys may argue with me. I know she's coming into this fight off 2 decision victories against Luana Pinheiro and Michelle Waterson. But I mean, if you scroll through her overall resume, she's been quite a finisher. Okay. Finished Poliana Viana in the second round. Submitted Piera Rodriguez in the second round with that armbar. She submitted Maria Agapova with the rear naked choke. You can go back to the Priscilla Cachoeira first round submission via rear naked choke. I could find you some more here. I mean, we'll keep going down. I mean, I know we're going back some years, but that's actually kind of shedding a positive light on Robertson because we know she's even better now than she was then. Okay, just because she didn't get those 2 finishes in her last fight doesn't mean she's not more dangerous and better now than she was back when she was submitting fighters like Courtney Casey, caught her in a rear naked choke there. She submitted Veronica Hardy in the second round, another RNC there. I know we got some more to talk about. She submitted Emily Whitmire and Molly McCann, both early on rear naked choke and an armbar. Okay, so we know she's dangerous with the armbar and the rear naked choke. Even if you go back to the regional scene, submitted Hannah Cyphers with an RNC. I think that it's very realistic that Robertson will be the first fighter to ever submit Rodriguez. And I'll also throw this out there too. The TKO is somewhat live as well. If she puts her in a vulnerable position, can kind of flatten her out and unload like we have seen her do before. Maybe that's a possibility there too. Rodriguez is getting up there in age, and that's what we're looking at here. So let's see what's available as far as what we're talking about there. So if we're taking a look at the under 2.5, which if you're going under 2.5, you also get the dangerous and powerful striking of Marina Rodriguez. If somehow she keeps this fight standing and she starts to unload on Robertson, I mean, you also get that going for yourself too. So, I mean, that's what I like here. The under 2.5 rounds on this fight. And if you also want to take a quick peek with me at what we're talking about as far as Robertson getting a specific method of victory finish, Robertson to win this fight via KO/TKO, as we just talked about, as high as a plus 800. Okay. And then on the sub, you'll see her right around, right around a plus 200. Okay. So if you want to take a look at those, I mean, I think that there's some potential value there. Keep an eye on Robertson finishing this fight. This isn't going to be the third prop bet that I throw your guys' way. This is just a little bit of a bonus play. I want to mention, and I know some of you guys are going to disagree with me a lot with what I'm talking about here. Okay. I understand it's a reach. I mean, take a look at the line. You can catch Jeremy Stevens to get a knockout as high as a plus 800. Okay. That's what I'm seeing out there. Do not sleep on the hardest hitting 145er to have ever done it. Okay, if he goes out here and he starches Mason Jones in this matchup here, okay, returning to the UFC in his home state at the age that he's at, I will officially label him. I'm going to be going crazy on IG at MMA Fortune Teller, I will officially declare Stephens, without a doubt, the hardest hitting 145er that we've ever seen in the sport. Okay, it would be legendary if he could pull that off, and getting 8-1 odds on that might be worth a little sprinkle. And I see a lot of Stephens hate coming his way. Everyone thinks he's just washed, and I don't know. Keep an eye on him, man. He's motivated, and if he keeps this fight standing, or if Jones plays that type of fight with him, you guys do not underestimate the power and just how dangerous Stephens is. I'm telling you guys now. We get to talk about the man himself, Bo Nickal, who will be taking on RDR. And I just want to say real quick, I see people kind of talking about how Bo Nickal looked like trash in his last fight, and how they're not even really excited to see him step in there, and that this card's overrated and whatnot. I think some of you guys are not being realistic about what's going on here. And I'll explain this a little bit further, but what I'm saying is whether you like it or not, when Bo Nickal is walking out to the cage, especially up until the point he takes that first loss, as far as him continuing to be undefeated, making that walk, it's not even going to matter if he goes out there and performs like he did against Paul Craig, where he just does enough to kind of sneak by and get his hand raised. Okay. He's a polarizing figure in the sport right now, and people are going to be rooting against him. Okay. And I'll compare him to Mayweather, but take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that, okay, he's on the level of what a Floyd Mayweather was in boxing. It's not what I'm saying, but just being undefeated, having all the accolades that he has, and also having a lot of support. People think that he's really going to rise to the top of this division over the years. He still hasn't even cracked the 30 marker. Okay. When you think about like Floyd's fights, they weren't always the most exciting. Okay. But people tuned in to see him lose. I think you're going to get a little bit of that with Bo Nickal. There's just going to be big energy when he steps into the cage, and you're going to feel it. So for those of you guys that are trying to pretend like, oh, this fight doesn't matter, you're going to feel it when you see him making the walk, and you check your Instagram or your X. You're going to see everyone talking about what's going on in the cage, and you're going to see if he just does enough just to edge out another victory. You're going to see people all talking about him. If you go to the hashtag UFC Des Moines, you're going to see a lot of people talking about Bo Nickal, and that's what's going to happen, and it's going to keep snowballing. All right, so I'm just giving you guys a heads up there, man. This is going to be a big story and a big topic in MMA, specifically over the next year or two. We'll see how far Bo can push it. If he remains undefeated and he makes a run at the belt, I mean, he's going to be all over ESPN. He's going to be one of those types of guys. Okay, but I understand that he needs to show more of what he was showing early on, right? Because his last couple fights, they're not looking as impressive. But if he does go out here and gets a victory over RDR, it will be impressive no matter how he does it. And what he has going for himself right now is that he just trained for a very similar type of fighter, a high-level BJJ player like Paul Craig was when he versed him. And we saw what Nickal did. Okay, he fought, if you will, he fought an intelligent fight. Okay, he showed that he's willing to make decisions in there that will avoid him being put in risk just in order to keep the streak going. Okay, he doesn't always have to go out there and fight like he fought against Val Woodburn. All right, and that fight, he threw caution to the wind. He didn't need to go out there and participate in a slugfest against a low-level fighter that has decent power. Okay, he could have slowed the pace down of that fight and just completely dragged Woodburn to the deep waters, who took that fight on short notice. He could have wrestled him and just drowned him. He didn't. He went out there and knocked him out. So don't just think that he's always going to go out there and just be a boring fighter that looks to get his hand raised. But I will say this. I do have a gut feeling that he's going to fight a similar type of fight in this matchup against RDR to what he just did against Craig. I don't think that he's going to really want to have a bunch of scrambles down on the mat with the high-level BJJ player and RDR. RDR is going to look to close the distance and get a hold of him. But Bo Nickal is going to have the wrestling defense to stuff any of those types of attacks of RDR. I think he keeps this fight standing. And yeah, there is potential that Nickal can crack him and finish him. In fact, if you take a look at RDR's 2 losses, they both were by way of knockout. He was finished via strikes. It happened a little bit in a different way. One of them, he was kind of ground and pounded. I think he was down in the mat getting beat up. But if RDR continues to pressure, he can run into something. And I would love to see that as a huge Bo Nickal fan. But what I really see happening in this fight, I see this fight going the distance. I see this being another fight where Nickal showcases once again his developing footwork and what he's learning with his stand-up, and he's big into being technical with the way he moves in the cage. Okay, some of you guys may not want to give him credit there, but that's a game. That's part of his game that he's working on, and you saw it implemented in the Craig fight, which it did play out closely if you looked at the numbers on the stats and whatnot. But Nickel won that fight, and he was somewhat in control of that fight. Really, if you rewatch the tape on it, I think he does the same thing here. I think that Bo Nickel is going to win a decision in this fight. I think that's what we're going to see. Now, based on my confidence of that being the case, let's talk about a couple targets we could have here. For the last one probably being my favorite, but we could target the over 1.5 here if you want to play it a little bit safer, which if Nickel even gets a finish, or of course, if RDR gets his own finish or wins the fight late, you're still cashing there if it goes past the halfway marker. You can catch that at -190. I think that's a safer target on this fight. I think that's not a bad idea if you want to put a little bit of money in your pocket. But for those of you guys that are looking for better value, you could look at this fight to go the distance, which you can catch right around a +135. And in that case, though, I would say you're probably better off just taking Bo Nickel to win via decision, which you can catch as high as +225. And you can shop some lines out there, but it's going to be up in the +200s, the low +200s. And I feel confident Nickel gets the job done. I could talk a little bit more about that. I don't want to bore you with all my Nickel talk, but I think you're better off just taking him to win the fight via decision rather than taking the fight to go to a decision. I just think that the extra juice is worth the squeeze there. So that's what I would do. And just real quick, because I've seen some people talking about it, and meet me in the comment section in a couple ways here, guys. I want to know the targets that you have for this card. If you guys have, give me your best target on the card, guys. Comment below. And besides that, let me know what you guys think about the line here on Bo Nickel, because everyone, a lot of people are saying, and specifically one person, I saw someone calling out blasphemy on me, saying that the value's on Bo Nickel, even where this money line is. And I'll tell you what, I do think that it is, because Nickel is a fighter. Besides just the high level wrestling, he has high level grappling, and he has submission defense in his arsenal. I don't think that he's going to be a fighter, even if you get him down, that's going to be easy to sub. And he's going to be the better overall mixed martial artist here, even early on in his career. This is a fighter that has -1,400, -2,000, -3,000 type of lines next to his name. And I would actually say that even when you take a look at his money line, I know some of you guys don't want to believe this, I still would say that the value, which you see it starting to creep up. You know, when we were talking about it more around a -300. Now it's a -330. We were talking about it at -290, 300, whatever it was. I think that was an accurate line. Okay, so some of you guys feel that that's a reach, and that this is I saw some of you guys saying that this is a fight that should be capped around even odds. Okay, well, you guys go ahead and you slam, get to take that plus action on RDR. You guys go ahead and slam that and see how that works out for you. Okay, meet me in the comment section. Maybe I'm eating my words. Of course, this is the fight game. You guys know anything can happen, but see how that works out for you. All right, you see if that ticket cashes for you, or you just burned a ticket, because Bo knows. And that perfectly slides us over to the long shot parlay. Ring the bells, boys. You guys know what we're doing here. We're putting the long shot parlay together. We're going to get it up in the +1000s. And let's cut right to the chase. We're throwing Bo Nickel in this thing to kick it off, right? I talked about my confidence in him winning this fight. How about that? Throw him right in there with that -325 line that I can get right now. What else are we talking about here? I'm going to throw a chalky Cory Sandhagen up in the mix, because I have a lot of confidence that Sandhagen is going to be a clear step ahead of Figueiredo. The only way I see Sandhagen losing that fight is if he slips on a banana peel, gets cracked with a big shot, makes some type of blatant error, and is finished. Okay, I think that Sandhagen's really going to have a solid performance here, coming off the loss. I think he's very motivated. He just has a lot of things going for him in that matchup. Figueiredo's very much up there in age, and I have a lot of respect for Figueiredo's game, but the writing's on the wall there. So throw that up in the mix. Let's throw, come on, we got to throw Montel Jackson up in the mix in this piece here. You guys know I've been a big Montel Jackson fan, catching him right around -200. Daniel Marcos should not be undefeated. We all know that he lost to Davey Grant. Montel Jackson has proven he can come in off a long layoff, as he always does, and still perform. So we'll get that up to +135 there. Now we're going to have to make some moves here in order to bump this up, right? So let's throw Yana Santos up in the mix at dog odds. That'll bring us up to a +423. Miesha Tate is just slow and lethargic with her striking defense. She has to have success with her wrestling. I'm going to say that Santos who has a lot more left to offer the fight game, can defend enough to keep the fight standing where she'll be more energetic and more aggressive. And people we're kind of looking at her harshly based off the Holly Holm fight. Remember, that was a return fight for her. I think she had a baby and whatnot and had some things going on outside the cage. She was coming in off a 2-year layoff. I say that she picks up off the momentum that she's had as of recently. She could defend, and Miesha Tate's almost 39 or something. She's old. Throw that up in the mix. Throw Jillian Robertson up in the mix, and then let's see. I think we'll cap this off with this is where it could get risky, but we're looking at either Siri Sidi or Gaston Bolanos. And we're going to throw Gaston Bolanos in the mix here. That's going to get the long shot parlay all the way up to a 1,043. A plus 1,043 is what we're getting there on a 6-teamer. All right. Bo Nickel, Sandhagen, Jackson, Santos, Robertson, and Bolanos all on the money line. All right. So let's see how that goes. We got to have all those 6 fights go our way, and we cash. All right. So let me know if you guys are tailing me on that, if you're fading me on that. You guys know I like all type of feedback. I hope you guys are all having a great week as we're creeping up to the weekend here. The weather is beautiful outside, at least down over here it is, and I'm pretty sure it's being pretty nice all around the country in the United States. So, I mean, depending on if you're in a different country, that could be different for you. I don't know. Some of you guys may be listening to this and you guys are creeping into winter. I don't know what's going on for all you guys out there. But, you know, over here in the States, the weather is nice. And I wish for you, wherever you're at, that it's beautiful. The sun's hitting your skin, and maybe you're getting ready for the Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby is taking place this Saturday. I definitely am going to put some content out on that over on my IG. And I'll have the continued skits that I've been working on. I'm working on some skits here. You guys know my landlord, Don, has been harassing me about that rent money. We'll get some skits pumped up on the IG. That's something that I really want to do a lot more. You can catch me on Instagram at mmafortuneteller. And I want to start getting weekly skits out. I've been enjoying doing that type of stuff. And of course, the skits are in regards to being a degenerate mixed martial arts gambler. All right, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please smash the like button before you get out of here. I'll catch you guys later. Signing out. Teller.
The teller. The teller. The teller.